Guys, it's your boy Wolfie. Now, we just finished getting a balance patch for Outriders, and we're getting a patch next week that's going to deal with a lot of the bugs and matchmaking issues. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go through all the patch notes for you. I'm going to leave them in the description. You can click on them yourself. Pretty sure you guys have saw them from the many videos people are posting or the Reddit posts themselves. Yeah, long story short, we all got nerfed. At the end of the day, there were no buffs, and even vulnerability got nerfed, which every single class uses. Tricksters got mega nerfed. Technomancers that were literally performing better than us got nerfed less than we did, and Pyromancers even got a nerf. Awkwardly enough, no buffs to be seen. This is not really the best situation. As a person who's able to still clear CT-15s even after the nerf, not really having much of a problem, I'm not really happy about these nerfs. Not because they affect me, but because they affect everybody else. They affect my friends, they affect people who are casual in the game, people who haven't finished a story, people who are still on CT1, people who are literally farming hunts for gear instead of going into expeditions because they're too worried about timing things. It affects all of those people more than me, and that's not a good thing. The game just came out. If there's some overpowered builds, so it's a single player game. It doesn't affect you. If you don't want to play with those builds, you don't use them. Sure, their opinion is that like it was scaling too hard, it was doing too much, people were getting into endgame too fast. Fine, I get it. You want to encourage build diversity? I get it. But you can't just release nerfs in the first week of the game's existence before people even get to experience and have fun with the game, because it just leaves a sour taste in their mouths. The limited time that people have had in this week that they poured into the game, they may feel like their time was wasted because their build may have gotten nerfed to oblivion, even though it didn't. It's not the end of the world. You can still play. The nerf wasn't as bad as it seems because you can still do all the content. It just takes a bit more grind. But that feeling of you putting that time and it getting nerfed that fast before you even get to enjoy it, I understand the sentiment. It's not a good feeling. It's not fun. This could have been handled so differently. I get it. You want to say twisted rounds and you want to say the flame rounds and blighter rounds are overpowered and overused. Fine, I get it. But you don't just release the nerfs. The reason most people are using these builds instead of the other builds is these are the builds that work. They're still the best builds by a large margin because the other builds are not scaling well. There's so many things working against them. It's so much easier to scale gun damage than it is to scale ability damage. Part of that is also because close range and long range damage does not work on abilities. It only works on gun damage. There's so many ways that we could have done things to help this out. Increasing scaling for abilities, for anomaly power, lowering their cooldown, giving better traits for them. If you wanted to nerf these round builds, and I agree they needed a nerf. I'm not mad at the nerf itself. My problem with the nerf is more along the lines of when they came and the fact that there were no buffs. You want to encourage build diversity, buff the things that other people aren't using. Seriously, we could all, I would honestly suggest that we revert these nerfs until you have buffs to accompany these nerfs. Buff the other abilities. There's plenty of Technomancers who want to play a support class, but physically can't because their build sucks. I personally want to use the abilities on the Trickster, but I can't because my Temporal Slash does 30,000 damage on like a 15-second cooldown. My bullet hits for 250. If I were to build fully for anomaly power, it's still like 100,000 to 200,000 damage on like a 15-second cooldown. It's too long. If you have an ability that's going to sit there for 15 seconds on cooldown, it has to do substantial damage to the giant elites that is going to outpace my bullets. If they don't, I'm always going to default to a bullet build. By nerfing the bullet builds, all you did is actually make the builds tighter. It made less build diversity because now there's more mandatory traits than there were before. Before, I could skip the 25% elite damage because I didn't need it. I could put it towards something else. Maybe I might want to have a little more survivability. Maybe I want to have some CC. Maybe I want a oh crap golem to pop up when I'm 30% HP. Now I can't. I need that 25% increased elite damage if I want to kill elites. You just made the build diversity worse. If you're balancing over the top end, there's going to be a problem because not everybody's going to be at the top end. And the percentage of players at the top end is so small that screw them. I'm literally saying screw me. I think, like, forget me. Just like balance around the casuals, man. I literally have friends telling me they don't want to play the game anymore because it's going to be too hard for them to farm gear. It's a bad feeling and it's bad taste to nerf in the first week with no compensation. Now, if they were like, yo, we're gonna nerf twisted rounds and we're gonna nerf this gun build, but don't worry, we're gonna buff the other abilities. So the other abilities are closer to twisted rounds. Maybe you want to use temporal slash. Maybe you want to use a little whirlwind. Maybe you want to use the uplift move. Buff those. Fine. Awesome. Give me something to play with. Maybe buff the traits. Don't mind either. But when all you do is nerf, you take the already best build, nerf it, stays the best build, and the other builds are still bad. It's not a good feel. Because now I'm just going to use the weaker build than I was using before. And now I just feel weaker and I'm not trying anything new. All I understand is that the purpose of this patch was to encourage build diversity. It was to encourage people to not rely on the round builds, but instead it just made me rely on the round builds even more and made me make a tighter build rather than what I had before. This patch literally did the opposite. They could have easily also nerfed the round damage completely, but then also nerfed enemies and their HP or their damage values, and it would have been the same thing. It would have been okay. It would have actually been better because if they nerfed the enemies, they would have made the other builds better. By nerfing enemies and nerfing our damage, they would make the other classes that are underperforming better and made the builds that were underperforming better while still nerfing twisted rounds and the other round builds. I think that would have been a better option. I don't know. It just feels really weird to make it harder to clear some expeditions and nerf the classes all in the first week. Not only before a lot of people get to endgame and give you enough information and data, but before people got to have fun with these builds, man. Remember, this game is it's like Diablo and it's like Path of Exile. Those games are just fun. You can play them and just have fun. This isn't WoW, this isn't Destiny, this isn't an MMO style game. This is directly related to games like Borderlands, Diablo, PoE. It's like an action RPG. We even have greater rifts. It's literally greater rifts. I don't know, man. It feels weird that we're focusing on balancing instead of just letting people have fun. And even if you are going to nerf these, which I agree with the nerfs. I agree with them. They needed to get nerfed. I agree. But it's too early and there was no compensation. That's it. That's how I feel about it. Let me know how you guys feel. I don't really have anything else to say. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. You guys can still clear CT15s. You guys can still clear everything. I'm going to post some videos of me clearing the new expedition times on CT15 with the nerfs on the Trickster and to show you guys that the build still works and everything is still going as good as possible. Yeah, If you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. If you guys really enjoyed the video, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell. I'd appreciate it. Also, drop a comment. I'd love to see what you guys think about the patch notes. Let me know how you guys feel. Try to keep it a little contained. Don't be too crazy and wild. Try to be a little articulate with your words. I know how some people get when they're like a little very angry, and I understand your emotions are a little high because maybe you put 92 hours in the game like I did and your build kind of sucks now, and I feel bad for you. But let's try to be a little mature in the comments, but drop them. Let me know what you guys feel. You can stop on my Twitch channel too and talk to me there. I stream between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern, 6 days a week. Feel free to ask me about Outriders regardless of what I'm playing. I'll be playing Smite, WoW, whatever it may be. Feel free to ask. I don't care. I talk about other games all the time while playing different games. I love video games. Or you can follow me on Twitter and at me there. I have no problem responding there. And you can even hang out on my Discord. I'm always in there too. You guys have a good one. Thank you guys very much for watching. Deuces.